Focus, ideate, innovate, enable.
For economic advancement on in full throttle, it is imperative that businesses invest in conserving the depleting natural resources. Natural capital has been defined as the world's stock of natural assets, which include geology, soil, air, water, and all living things. The third edition of the Yes Bank Natural Capital Awards was a step in that direction by celebrating and rewarding the work done by individuals and institutions alike towards building and developing a regulatory framework, disclosure mechanisms, and reporting measures for natural capital accounting.
Under the leadership of its founder, MD and CEO, Mr. Rana Kapoor, Yes Bank has been a pioneer in keeping sustainability as an important part of our overall business. We publish a regular integrated sustainability report along with our annual report in terms of whatever we do. The Natural Capital Awards institutionalized in 2013 were a part of this initiative as well. We've been leading by example, in terms of being the first bank globally to migrate to the new environment management standards of ISO 14001:2015, incorporating sustainability in all operations of the bank. During COP21, we had made a commitment to, mobilize $5 billion, till 2021, which were environmentally sustainable projects. Part of that was our funding to the renewable energy sector. We had committed to doing 5 gigawatts and we have funded, I think, about 1.2 gigawatts already by 2015. We also pledged to plant 2 million saplings as an additional carbon sinks, for which we were the first private sector company to get into a CSR commitment with NHAI. Dr. Bhattacharya is very much here, was a part of this overall initiative. Green finance is something that has come very naturally to us. So we as an organization have actually pioneered and taken this thing up more than anyone else, more than any other banking institution. We pride that, yes, we are market leaders in this aspect. I'm confident that whatever experiences we discussed today will possibly take this, subject of natural capital far more seriously forward. At the outset, whilst a lot of awardees would be coming during course of the evening, congratulations to all of you.
Each one of you who is sitting in this audience, I'm sure he is not an individual. I can see institutions sitting here. And institutions can create movements. They can create history. And the time has come when we need to develop a big, high-quality social and national movement around this issue. And small contribution from each one of us, as an individual, as an organization, I'm sure it will certainly help the cause in a very big way. So this is an occasion where, friends, we have assembled for a very, very noble cause. And on behalf of all of you, I think we need to congratulate as Yes Bank. And I wish that out of those 500 odd people from the corporate world who participated in this activity this year, at least 100 will come out with similar competitions in the next 1 year. And I think you will see yourself how much of change it actually ultimately delivers to the whole world.
The positive part is that we have, this is the post-2015 era after the Paris Accord, after the Sustainable Development Goals have been announced. And now it is time to provide impetus to the fact that short-term growth without consideration of climate and natural capital is vulnerable to boom and bust cycles, and delay in action will really end up becoming very, very costly. The OECD estimates that bringing together growth and climate agendas can add up to 1% to average economic output in G20 countries by 2021 and lift 2050 output by about 2.8%. Hence, there is a strong business case to adopt a combination of pro-growth and pro-environmental policies to achieve sustainable development. For this, to really address this global challenge, we require multidimensional, multidisciplinary, and strategies that are aligned with multi-level governance. And I'm pleased to mention here that the Natural Capital Awards of Yes Bank is a perfect example of a shared vision where will, collaboration, and efforts have come together to really achieve the sustainable development goals.
After two successful editions, the Yes Bank Natural Capital Awards 2017, in association with Yes Global Institute, expanded its focus to showcase successful innovative businesses based on conservation and the role of public policy to create sustainable and lasting impact. Instituted in 2013, the awards showcase and reward the finest natural capitalists of India, comprising individuals, groups and corporations that are spearheading biodiversity growth and environmental stewardship. The two main categories, Pixel Perfect and Trailblazers, aim to highlight the significance of biodiversity through original research on species and ecosystems, and by celebrating the beauty and diversity of nature and wildlife through photography.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, once again the presentation of the Yes Bank Natural Capital Awards 2017, and we have the category, photography category. Under this we have two subcategories, Pixel Perfect and Trailblazer. So now, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to invite the winners here, the runners-up here on the stage. The second runner-up first, Mr. Baiju Patel. And now inviting our first runner-up, Mr. Masood Hussain. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the Pixel Perfect category, Mr. Shivang Mehta. He's not been able to join us, but we have Ms. Kahini Ghosh Mehta, who's going to be collecting the award. And we now move into the next subcategory, the Trailblazer, as we appreciate first the first runner-up of the Trailblazer category, Mr. Shantanu Prasad. Many congratulations, and now inviting the winner of the Trailblazer category, Mr. Ritubroto Moitra. That's the team members of Ritubroto Ghosh receiving the award.
The impact of global warming and climate change on the environment and biodiversity is well researched and recognized. Climate warming has been identified to alter species composition. This has a ripple effect on our entire ecosystem, as nature is out of balance and certain species can become pests, weeds, and invasive. This competition and award event is a wonderful platform to raise awareness on these issues. I was informed that this year 522 registrations for the Eco Corporate category and 10,135 registrations for photography categories were received. I congratulate the organizers for such a successful response and thank each and every individual and groups that had sent in their registration. I understand the quality of registrations were exceptional and would like to recognize the efforts of the jury of experts who undertook the difficult task of evaluating the submissions. And of course, I thank Yes Bank for supporting such a worthy initiative.
Valuing natural capital, applying the natural capital protocol and natural capital mapping towards achieving SDGs in India, with the aim to evaluate and map the financial value of India's forests and its ecosystem services. Another highlight was the agreement signed between the government of Uttarakhand, the Climate Group and Yes Bank that sought to accelerate state-level initiatives focused on lowering carbon footprints in accordance to India's climate change goals. The winners were selected by an eminent jury comprising notable Indian naturalists, photographers and environmentalists who have contributed in building the country's natural capital.
I would like to just touch why these awards are important. I think, my institute, IRADE, which is a non-profit NGO, had done some studies for the climate change MOEF, and it helped them formulate India's INDC goals. And from our studies, we see that it is really important if we are going to meet any kind of an INDC goals, that the action has to be taken by not just industry, by a large number of people, by almost everyone. And as we see with the kind of impact we are seeing of various kind of disasters and the frequency of which is increasing, that citizens in the country are becoming more and more aware of the need for sustainability. And I think if you give awards to industries, then it becomes easier for them to tell consumers that, look, we are taking care of this environment, and that consumers would obviously prefer their products and their outcome.
Contemporary business practices, environmental modifications, exploitation of resources, and the need for policy revamp were some of the key topics discussed by a distinguished panel as they attempted to take stock and offer solutions to check India's depleting natural capital.
The last real comment, so it's that we have the policy in place, we have the global framework in place. We have the national, sometimes translating in legislation, which is making even stronger over the years. And I see what is the real challenge is to attract investments from business and investors and having access to finance for subnational, local authorities, but in general also for state themselves to access. The climate change process as an instrument, which is also recently new. The Green Climate Fund was mentioned earlier, has started now to disperse. They plan to disperse much more in the coming 12 months, so they have to set up the machinery to go. And there are, of course, other instruments, but private finance capital is absolutely needed. Private finance capital will be the one who moves the big investments and will help to make this transformation possible.
What we really need to do when we're talking about natural capital is understand how do we build the physical limits that we have to operate within into our economic systems. And Paris is a wonderful example of us having figured out how to do that. You know, we know that the limit is 1.5 degrees to well below 2 degrees. That equates to net zero. I have to while I'm here in India, applaud the Indian government for their, not only their really ambitious INDC, but the fact that we can see that already India is going to beat the INDC with particularly ambitious work on renewable energy, afforestation, and I think very exciting audacious even from a policy perspective, talk of the end of the internal combustion engine by 2030 here. On a note, you see those kind of signals from policymakers make businesses innovate. So Aston Martin, I've never driven an Aston Martin, but I think they're like a James Bond car. Aston Martin today just announced that by 2029 they'll be 100% electric. So a big, sexy sports car, 100% electric. And it's policy signals by governments like India that say the internal combustion engine is inevitably dead because we have to operate within that climate limit that start companies innovating much earlier.
So we debate a lot about these valuation methodologies for natural capital, right? Whether that live adult whale shark, an ecologist in my organization told me, is worth $282,000. It could be 250. It could be 300. Whether the environmental pollution or considerations resulted in a natural capital devaluation of $4.7 trillion last year. Was it 5 trillion? Was it 4 trillion? 3.5 trillion? It was, ladies and gentlemen, a very large number. And that is no longer being debated. And that business understands. And therefore, I think as we move beyond debating about, is this the right methodology? Is this the right tool for calculating value? I think if we're looking at it from an impact standpoint and looking at from impact that is not predicted, but impact that has already happened and is happening, that standpoint, business has no option but to respond. And many examples were shared here today. Many are responding.
With industry being the largest consumer of natural resources, Eco-Corporate, the third category at the awards, recognize the corporate commitment towards driving environmentally sustainable practices and initiatives in their value chain and integrating natural capital as part of the business process.
Moving to the next category, that's a corporate category. This year, in fact, we have added 2 new subcategories also here, ecotourism category and small-scale enterprises. So starting first from the manufacturing category here. The second runner-up, ladies and gentlemen, for the eco-corporate manufacturing category is SRF Limited. Inviting Dr. Suresh Reddy. And now, ladies and gentlemen, appreciating the first runner-up for the eco-corporate manufacturing category, and that's Jain Irrigation Systems Limited. Mr. Atin Tyagi and Mr. Abhijit Joshi are joining in to receive the award. Finally, now, ladies and gentlemen, the winner for eco-corporate manufacturing category, Ambuja Cements Limited. Joining us, Mr. Sandeep Srivastava, the Senior Vice President, Corporate Sustainable and Environment. And now the next subcategory, that's Eco-Corporate Services category. First recognizing here the second runner-up. Ladies and gentlemen, all hands for Delhi Metro Rail Corporation. I would like to invite here on the stage Shri Mangu Singh, the Managing Director of DMRC. The first runners-up, ladies and gentlemen, in this category is Infosys. Joining us now to receive the award, Mr. Guru Prakash Sastri, the Regional Head Infrastructure and Green Initiative Infosys. And now, ladies and gentlemen, announcing the winner for the Eco-Corporate Services category, and that is Mumbai International Airport Private Limited. Joining us now, Mr. Rajiv Jain, the CEO of Mumbai International Airport. The next category, ladies and gentlemen, is the Ecotourism category. And the winner in the Ecotourism category is Terra Ecotourism. Joining us to receive the award, Mr. Snehal Sharma, the Managing Director of Terra. The fourth and the final category of the Natural Capital Awards, ladies and gentlemen, here we are focusing on felicitating the small-scale enterprises and organizations. And under this, the first commendation goes to Green Sonic Foundation. Receiving the award, Ms. Lata Ashok Jha, the Director of Green Sonic Foundation. And our next commendation to Dua Industries. Receiving the award, Mr. Sanjay Dua, the promoter. The next commendation is to Vermigold Ecotech Private Limited. Receiving the award, Mr. Jaideep Saptarishi, the promoter.
The third edition of the Yes Bank Natural Capital Awards once again shone the light on the stellar efforts of Indian individuals and institutions in their quest to promote natural capital conservation and in creating value while keeping a close watch on sustainable solutions.
Focus. Ideate. Innovate. Enable.